Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now, let's start with the first story. It's called Exactly What I Was Told. I used to work as a driver for a freight company. We used to handle awkward sized items that no other couriers would touch. We delivered everything from coffins to tractor parts. We also had to collect things from our customers for delivery the next day. This company had a mixture of contractors and permanent drivers. I was a relief driver. I knew most of the routes, so I covered holidays or sickness. The management of the depot consisted of a delivery manager and a collection manager. These two people didn't quite see eye to eye, as sometimes getting the stuff delivered conflicted with getting stuff collected, and their targets reflected failures in a bad way. This particular day, I had to cover a contractor's route. I didn't know the route, so as we had to load our trucks, this took a little longer than usual. I had around 45 deliveries that day, which is high for this predominantly rural route. I asked my manager, the delivery manager, if he knew the route. He replied that he did and ordered my route for me, so I was good to go, albeit a bit late. I did say that with the volume I had, I may struggle, and I asked him to keep an eye out for me. He said okay. I got to near midday and realized that I wasn't going to be able to complete all the deliveries, and the collections wouldn't get done either. I also noted that one of the collections was off-route, and the contractor had a vehicle in that area anyway. I called in and spoke to my manager, delivery, and told him he had a choice of collections or deliveries. I also asked why the contractor couldn't cover the off-route collection. I was told to call back later, and he'll see if he can sort something out. He also said that the off-route collection would have to be done too. I called back later and asked for help again. He said there was no help available, so I gave him the option of deliveries or collections. As there wasn't time to do both, he categorically said both had to be done. The delivery manager went home, so I called in again and got the collection manager. She reiterated that there was no help at all, so either I failed the deliveries or failed the collections. If that happened, I'd have been hauled into the office the next day. So, cue malicious compliance. I called into one of the collections and I asked what time they closed. 6:30 PM they said, so I said I'd be back later. I carried on with the deliveries, which took me further away from that collection. At the appropriate time, I stopped delivering and drove to the collection. I collect 2 small parcels. That was all. I then drove back to where I had stopped and carried on delivering. This cost me about an hour. I finished my last delivery at 7:15 PM. I had a 45-minute drive back to my yard. As I was leaving the route, I got a frantic call from the collection manager. She was wondering where I was. I told her what had happened and told her that I'd asked for help 4 times and was told I had to do everything allocated. So I did, and it wasn't my fault that it happened like this. Here's where the trouble really started. The company's trunking system is a fluid one that depends on trucks leaving the depot at a certain time. For our depot, the cutoff time is 7:30 PM. I wheeled in at just after 8 PM. There were 15 upset guys on overtime, waiting for me to turn up, and an articulated truck waiting for these 2 parcels. This wait caused the whole trunking system to be late the next day. My routing was discussed when I got back, as it was questionable at best. I told the collections manager that it was the delivery manager that organized it. There were angry emails between the delivery and collection manager, and I would imagine that the logistics team would have demanded an explanation too. The next day, no one said a word. I wasn't on that route, and going forward for a little while, they either helped when I asked or didn't get me to do as much. Also, as I had exceeded legal driving time, they had to make sure I went home early for a few days. So a bit of a win there. The biggest trouble these guys had was they always assumed that the drivers were after an easy day. It even when presented with the evidence, assumed that you were still trying to be fly. This time it bit them badly. The next story is called The Problem Solver. This happened a few years ago. I was tier 2 tech support for a company that handles my country's largest ISP's entire professional email services, all its DNS management services, and a large portion of its website building and web hosting services. This company is tiny, minute, not even a blip in the radar, but has power that I will likely never again hold at my fingertips. One day a ticket came in from the ISP. A big client company is moving away from our proprietary email services and into Microsoft 365 or some such equivalent change. This usually meant I got to help the client through the process of changing DNS records, migrating inboxes, or just backing up emails, and even actually setting up some stuff on the Microsoft side. Technically not my job, but the ISP's tier 1 tech support was woefully untrained for anything even remotely technical and terribly unprepared for most things merely commercial. And my company was awesome and treated me right. The ticket reads, "Client is moving from service X to service Y. Please remove their subscription from the database." This seems to be some sort of mistake, which was very common. We removed them from there once the new service is set up and running. Otherwise, it would delete everything in their subscribe package, including all email storage, DNS records, and website. You'll likely want to change their subscription to not include email services, but keep the rest, since your Microsoft subscription doesn't include DNS and web hosting management. And even that change, only after they have their new email service set up. The ISP replied with some nonsense, and then confirm remove their subscription. Are you absolutely sure? This process is not recoverable. All their emails, DNS records, and entire website, including database, will be permanently deleted. The ISP answered, "Request has been submitted. Remove subscription." At this point, it's been a couple of days since the first ticket, so I call my boss over, an absolutely wonderful guy and extremely intelligent, and tell him what they are asking me to do. He said, "Alright, let's show them they pay us, because we know things and they don't. Don't delete the subscription, but suspend all the services that would be affected. Keep those tickets at hand and expect a phone call. If they call you, tell them to talk to me." God, that felt good. I mean, I felt bad for the client, because the entire company basically shut down for an afternoon. But when they called my work phone directly from ISP, which was uncommon, usually just for emergencies, and the nice lady asked me what had happened with the client in the tone that says, "I'm doing my best to hear all sides before making a decision, but I'm freaking the heck out right now." And I directed her to the tickets, where I very clearly stated what would happen if I did what they told me to, and then told her to call boss. I felt so vindicated. Boss later told me to let them sweat for a couple of hours, because the process should have been unrecoverable, and then turn the services back on. ISP was, yet again, absolutely thrilled with us, and my name kept coming up even more often as the person that solves things. The last story is called Doctor's Note. I used to work for a boss in an office whose idea of being a leader was to make everything as difficult as possible. He expected flexibility from us, but offered nothing in return. One day I was sick, throwing up, so I called in sick. He said I needed a doctor's note if I wanted sick pay, even though the policy was doctor's note after 5 days. My doctor doesn't take kindly to having his time wasted. Even though I would have only needed a day or two, he signed me off for a month at the busiest time of year. The boss asked how that was possible, if I only had a bit of sickness. I told him it was doctor's orders, and he was welcome to contact him directly. Not sure if he ever did. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.